Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Hello, Leanna. Welcome to Savvy Broadcasting, a Life Unscripted. We're so grateful to have you here today. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, you betcha. Everyone, we have Leanna DeBellevue here going to talk about how, for any of you out there who hasn't started a business yet, what you need to know to get started. What are some of the key points which she's learned in growing her marketing business and what you can do not to make the same mistakes, because I know I made a slew of them when I first got started. So you're going to help people with that. Before we get started, just share with our audience a little bit about your background, what brought you into the world of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. So we started our business in 2011. It was originally known as Out of the Box Marketing. We've rebranded twice since then. So as we've evolved and grown, our company has also evolved and grown. Started as my cash on the side, just something I did for friends and family who were business owners. It has since grown to, we service over 19 countries. We do social media marketing, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all of that for those businesses as an outsourced contractor. We've been very, very lucky in working with some amazing people who were fantastic at what they did. They just know how to get that message out. So we've been getting the message out for them since 2011. That's on a business note. Personal note, I am a wife and mom. We've got 5 kids. We've got a blended family and 3 dogs, a cat, and a grandbaby. So
you're busy.
I know. So when I am not doing work, I am definitely fully involved in the family world. So.
And here's what's awesome. I think a lot of people, Leanna, get started with the idea of a business from home because it's like, hey, I can be more with my family, start a business. But what I like is you started it on the side while you built it. And there, there's some checks and balances to both sides. There are some people who saved up a lot, then jumped in full feet in and started their business. But, it's not for everyone. Sometimes just what you did, starting on the side as a side hustle and then letting it build to the point where you can let it run on its own is sometimes the best way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really, when I first started out, I really didn't think about creating a business, let alone a full-on agency, which is what we have now. Mm-hmm. It was more of something that people came to me about and said, I think we know that you're really good at this. Can you help? Mm-hmm. And if you told me 10 years ago that I'd have a marketing agency, I would told you that you're crazy, because it wasn't something that I was super, passionate about or wanted to. I've never been in the marketing industry, anything along those lines. So a lot of times in business, in a lot of ways, your customers will tell you what they want mm-hmm. and highlight what you're great at. So it just that's how it took off. But yeah, there's no way I could have done it, just jumped full in.
See, that's a cool point that you mentioned right there, Leanna, is that when I got started, I did financial consulting. I did what I did in my corporate America job for years, but brought it to people as a consultant basis, come on in there, help you with your cash flow, all that good jazz. But this doing podcasting and bringing sponsors, that was a totally other animal that I never anticipated I'd be doing. And so I like the fact that you go out there, you start delivering to the marketplace in a way you find you can bring value. And sometimes it'll turn into something totally different down the road if you let it manifest and just bring what the marketplace is looking for.
Yeah, 100%. You have to be open to and be flexible. So many times in business, I think people are one-track minded and they're like, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to service people. And unfortunately, that's why things don't take off as quickly as maybe they could, mm-hmm. is because you have to be willing to listen to the feedback that's being given to you.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've worked with a lot of businesses from startup to, in business for a while. What do you find that some of them just don't understand about the idea of marketing?
I think people are very committed to, and this is a great question that it's definitely making me think, they're committed to presenting the information in the way that they want to present it. Mm. And that's not always how the consumer wants to digest it, right? Mm-hmm. So many times a business will want to tell you, all the reasons why you have to have this problem. And people just tune out. They're like, oh, I'm good, right? Mm-hmm. Or if they maybe pivoted that idea just a little bit and talked about the solution that they're providing, or talk about the pain points that their customers might be experiencing, then it makes it a no-brainer connection. People go, oh yeah, I didn't know you did that. And people are like, we've been telling them for years that this is what we did. No, you told them what you thought that, you wanted them to know, not what they needed to hear.
Wow. And I'm guessing that's what you help people discover, businesses, that, okay, you've been delivering your message this way, but it's not having an impact because you need to maybe just shift it a little bit, not even huge sometimes.
Absolutely. Exactly. So take it, people, I know my business is like my baby. I'm very protective of it. I'm excited about it. I'm passionate about it. And so many other business owners feel that way. So the second they get a potential customer, they want to shove all this information down their throat. Let me tell you what, and they get excited. And that's really kind of a turnoff. People need to realize that marketing is a relationship builder, right? No one wants to go on a first date with someone and get asked to marry them at the end of the first date, right? You're like, wait, I don't even know you. Yeah. So you have to think about that when you're in business, right? You're marketing, you're growing the relationship, you're building value, you're creating that connection. And then when all those components are met, then you can ask for something a little more serious, such as the sale or as a continuing, whatever that next step is.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that you say that, Leanne, because we know that when we date someone, we go on a date, we do not expect to even say most of the time on the first date, let's go get married or even have sex. We're like,
right.
Let's get to know each other a little bit. Let's get to see if we're compatible. But it's funny that in business, we think, okay, it's been 20 minutes. When are we going to make that purchase?
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't give them a chance. And I've heard people say, so when's it going to happen? Even with the podcasting, people came to me and said, how do I, get sponsors? And I'm like, well, here's what I did. I don't know if it'll work for you, but they're like, I did 2 or 3 letters and contacted a couple people. No sponsors yet. I'm like, dude, did you build the relationship? So yeah, I love that you mentioned the relationship, that is so important. And it takes time. Who builds a relationship in one day?
Exactly. An authentic relationship. Because I think anyone can get a sale, in 20, 30 minutes if the need is that great. Mm-hmm. And, like sometimes you're hungry and someone's selling a hamburger. So, okay, it makes it a no-brainer. But if you want that person to continue to come to you for services, there has to be a foundation there. And unfortunately, a lot of people come to us after they've spent a ton of money on Facebook ads or trying to grow their Facebook group or their community, and nothing's happened. They're at the very, end of their financial straw, and they're looking to us to fix it overnight. And that's a huge red flag for us. If you are on your last dollar and this is your last ditch effort, it's not going to work, because it is social media or marketing in general is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Mm-mm. And once people understand that, that's when they really can take off and scale.
Yeah, I love that you say that as well, Leanne, because last year, my husband and I, we got married, and he started to look at my business and say, okay, I see that you could be growing this in a different way, but you should ask your listeners and audience, what do they need? Your guests, what do they need? And I'm like, no, but this works great, la, la, la. And so, I was kind of scared, because as it is in any business, when you start doing a certain way, a certain routine, you're like, this works, it's awesome. But you know what? It might have been awesome 5 years ago. It might not be awesome for the marketplace and your business today. Absolutely. And so I did what I was resisting for a while, which is ask my audience what they want, what they need. And I sent out a big survey, got back responses I didn't expect. And we relaunched in September, bringing the show to people in a way that they wanted. And, so why do you think there's that resistance sometimes with businesses wanting to just ask and just make maybe a little tweak?
That's a great question. I think it's a natural thing to stay within your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And if something has worked in the past, going out and doing something new can be scary. Even if it's on a trajectory for success, it's still scary to step out of that zone. Yeah. And I totally know what you're talking about. Sometimes my husband will come at me with an idea and I'm like, oh, why would I do that? And then it ends up being an amazing idea, right? But it was about me taking that step out of my zone and getting that feedback. People will tell you what they want if you ask them. Yeah. So I think it's just about being able to understand that times evolve, and getting out of your comfort zone means you're going to stretch and you're going to grow. And that's not always comfortable, unfortunately. Yeah. But it has to happen. So many people, we've got clients that come to us and they're like, I don't understand. I've always been in the yellow pages and now no one's calling. I'm like, who knows? Do they still, what?
Do they make those?
Yeah. And they're like, well, all of our clients used to, well, and they cater to an older clientele. So that made sense, right? Well, if you think about it, unfortunately, time passes, those people aren't maybe here anymore, and you have to start talking to a new generation, and that generation isn't the same.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's as obvious as stop putting your money in the yellow pages, right, and invest somewhere else. But sometimes it's not quite that clear, and you have to kind of try a little bit here and a little bit there, and maybe move some stuff here to see what mixture needs to occur for success.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like you mentioned earlier, this success, even if you see the change, will ultimately bring you and the marketplace what they are desiring. It's not going to show an overnight profits or success. It's going to take time to build it. And that's the scary part. It's like in the interim, you're going to see probably maybe even a lag or loss of profit, which is a little scary.
Absolutely. So I think it's because smart business people understand that when you make changes, there might be a lag or there might be a deficiency. I think it's really key to set some time markers to evaluate, right? Because you don't want to go a whole year and realize, wow, okay, not only did that not work, now I'm a year into a deficit. Maybe it's a 3-month mark and there's certain benchmarks. Okay, so we've made it to the 3-month mark. We are lagging in this area, but we've got growth in these 3 areas. So we know that we're making progress. And then in 6 months, we evaluate, okay, now we're not lagging, we've broke even, and we're still hitting these benchmarks. We know to continue to, proceed. And then you can measure it that way versus just hoping that your change works.
I like that you mentioned change and the metrics, because I think a lot of business owners, especially if you've been in the corporate arena, you're used to just doing a job. So you're like, I got this system going. I'm just doing it every day. Eventually, I'm going to make some money because I'm working 9 to 16 hours a day. But the thing is, you're not going to see the changes. What I've noticed, and I guess because I'm an accountant, I measure it and you can clearly see results or no results. And I think that's something sometimes that some businesses miss, is doing the metric system of wondering, where were you yesterday, where are you today, and where are you tomorrow, seeing the overall growth.
Yeah. And something I see I don't know if it's an entrepreneurial thing. So many times people are passionate about what they do that they go, I don't care about the money. I don't care. I just want to make sure that everyone has this information, or I want to make sure that we can cure this ailment, or, whatever that passion is that drives them. I think sometimes they feel if they're looking at the money or they're looking at numbers, that it makes them less authentic in the service that they're providing. And that's not key, because you can't call, at least here in Colorado, I can't call the electric company and say, I know I can't pay you this month, but I got 4 people noticed on social media. Like what? That's not a measurable thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you have to understand that just because you're looking at it from a business perspective and from a financial perspective, that doesn't take away from your ability to serve or your greater purpose or your bigger why. All you're doing is looking at it to make sure that your big why can be supported by your current actions. Does that make sense? Completely.
And what I'm liking that you're saying here is that it's not going to be, if you go out there and think, hey, I don't need to get paid because it's all about, I love doing this and I'm helping people. Well, you'll get to a point where you'll be homeless in a cardboard box. You won't be able to help anyone. So, right. And you need to get paid in order to bring your value. And I think that the problem, and I've done this myself, is you see it about taking from someone, that the idea of money is stealing from people. But if you see it from the perspective that I have a valued, and sometimes that's the hardest part about being a service entrepreneur, is that you don't see the value. It's not tangible. So you're thinking, I'm just taking money from people. But right. You have to see it from the point that I'm bringing, like you, an actual value to the table that makes their life better, their business better, or whatever has a desire for them, and makes their life better. So you're giving me money for that value. And so it's not a stealing thing. It's a transaction thing.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting how we have some mindset blocks maybe around accepting money from people, but we have no problem giving money to people when it comes to a service that we need, right? Yeah. We gladly pay our dry cleaners, or we gladly pay the car wash, or, If we're going to work with, a coach, we gladly pay them because we see the value. So it's not something, when you pull out your checkbook, it's not something that you're hesitant about. It's something you go through confidently, right? You know, I'm getting a service. I know what the end result's going to be. I've got it. And you have no hesitation. Yet on that other spectrum, we're like, oh, I don't know. Should we really, am I worth it? Am I giving them what I say I'm going to? And you've got to walk with confidence in that.
Yeah.
It's an exchange. You're getting my time, you're getting my energy, and you're getting my knowledge, which may not be a physical product.
Yes.
But it's going to result in tangible results that aren't.
Yeah, I get you. In fact, this is something I got 2 years ago. I started working with a team that helped me sell advertising. And I was very, very antsy because I'd been charging the same since day one, 7 years ago, from day one. And when I started working with them, they said, we can't work with you for that price because it's not worth us going out there to get the sales for what you're charging. So I just said, screw it. We're going to go up fourfold. And so I just did it. And I just jumped. And it was scary because I'm thinking, oh, do I have enough value to provide? And it was crazy, the amount of sponsors that came flying through the door. I mean, every week it was like, we got 10 more. And it was wonderful because I got to turn people away that didn't match our audience and our content. And so now I got to be selective and choose who I can really help and who's a good sponsor for our listeners and for the show. But I couldn't do that until I decided and got rid of this idea that I couldn't raise my prices. So and that's coming from that whole value mindset, money being, I think it's something that new business owners, especially if you're coming from the corporate world where you've got a paycheck all the time, to realize that this is presenting value, even more so sometimes than working in a job, because now you're actually giving your hard-earned talents and gifts to the world in a way that they need and makes their lives better.
Absolutely. 100%. That's key. 100%. So, and there are people out there, honestly, I know, especially people just starting out are going to find this hard to believe, but established business owners will be able to attest to this. There are certain people that will only engage with you if you have a higher priced item.
Yeah.
If I need your services and you are 80% less than everybody else, I'm going to think that you have no idea what you're doing, or that I'm not paying for quality. I want to know why. It makes my skepticism go up. Why are you so much less? Yeah. What am I missing? What do these other guys offer? Right? So if you're competitively priced, if not a little higher, now I'm comfortable. Now I'm like, okay, she obviously has the skill set to price yourself around these competitors, which is the level I'm already looking at. She's a little bit more, which I'm going to guess means she's going to provide more value. Tell me more. And it starts a conversation in a totally different way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We could go on for hours. This is such a great chat, but I don't want us to leave without everyone finding out how they can find out more about you, work with you. How can they do that?
Absolutely. So we are on all the social platforms, as you can imagine, under DeBellevue Global. So facebook.com/DeBellevue Global, Instagram.com/DeBellevue Global, LinkedIn, Twitter, anywhere you want to reach us. We can be found online, or you can go directly to our website, which is DeBellevueGlobal.com. We do offer complimentary strategy sessions, as well as a platform review. So we'll go over one of your platforms, let you know exactly what you're doing really well, and maybe some tweaks that you can make to get in front of your target market.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Leanna. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your great brilliance today on Savvy Broadcasting. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
If you liked this episode, please share. To hear more Savvy episodes and Savvy Biz tips, go to lifeunscriptedradio.com. To become a guest or participate in paid sponsorship, email us at Christina@lifeunscriptedradio.com.